Alright guys, check it out. Brother Maynard here with another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. I got a 3,500 point game for you. My Beastmen versus Orcs and Goblins. Just a little caveat though, this game came after a pretty long week at work, and we were kind of in a time crunch for a game this size. So we played it pretty fast and loose with the 1-inch rule and some of the movement rules. So just bear with me on those points. I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, here's the left side of my deployment, using the Blood Crushers as Razor Gores as usual. On my far left there, I got a Razor Gore, and then a unit of 30 Gores with full command, 2 more Razor Gores, a unit of 5 Minotaurs with standard musician. They got a Gore Bull in there, and he doesn't have much. He's got light armor and digital hand weapon, I think. Then a Tuskor Chariot, and then a Bestigor Horde with my level 4, who's rocking the Lord Beasts. And then you got my General's unit, which is the 40 Gore with the Battle Standard Bearer and the General in it. Behind that, my Herdstone with my 3 level 1s, 2 Shadow, 1 Beasts. And then I got another Tuskor Chariot with some Centaurs behind there, and then 40 Ungores, and then another Razor Gore on the far right. And then on his left, my right, you have a Spider, and then in the woods there he's got 50 Night Goblins with nets, with I think 5 or 6 Night Goblin bosses who got light armor and great weapons. And then he's got a little Squig Herd, and then he's got next to that he's got a horde of Orc Biggins, and in there he's got his General, his level 4, and his Battle Standard Bearer. So that's a pretty nasty unit. And then he's got a Boar Chariot next to that with a unit of Black Orcs, and there's a War Boss in there as well. He's actually the model that's standing triumphantly on the hill there. Then he's got another Boar Chariot, Doom Diver on the hill behind him, and then a horde of Savage Orcs, a unit of Savage Orc Boar Boys, and then another Spider. So, despite having so many more units than him, I win the roll for first turn, and I just kind of move the Razor Gores up to, just disrupt his, draw his Spider and his Savage Orcs away from the big combats, just kind of trip them up a little bit, and everybody else just moves up. Same thing over here. I'm going to use the Raiders and the Razor Gore to pop the Fanatics and just kind of keep everybody busy over here until my General and my General's unit and my Bestigors can, take out the heart of his army. And let's see here, Magic Phase. I just throw a preemptive wild form on my General's unit because I figure that'll kind of discourage him. There's such a large distance between his General's unit and the Chariots and my unit, but if I have the wild form on there, I figure it'll discourage him from attempting to charge everything in. So yeah, in his movement phase, he's moving the Spider around the flank there. He's taking advantage of its ability to move over the terrain. Night Goblins move up, and the Razor Gore pops the Fanatics, and everybody else just kind of moves up. He only had 1 unit fail Animosity, and that was the Savage Orc Boar Boys, and they got the result. They had to charge something, and so they just charged that Razor Gore. And then here's kind of just a picture of the 2 battle lines that I thought was pretty cool, with a bunch of nerds in the background there. Alright, so here's the left. Not really a good picture, but you can see a Spider is also charged the Razor Gore that was kind of facing off against it. And yep, here's kind of a cool picture of a Spider coming out of the structure. I mean, this doesn't really show you anything. I just thought it looked cool. Okay, so in his turn, in the previous turn, the Spider breaks the Razor Gore and pursues it off the table. His Boar Boys kill the Razor Gore they were fighting and overrun in the second one. So on my turn, my countercharge with the Gore block and the Minotaurs, and my hope is just to, kill the Boar Boys and then overrun the Savage Orcs and just kind of start rolling the flank up before that Spider gets back on the field. So that's the plan there. And then I'm not really sure what I'm doing with the Centaurs there, so yeah, I don't know. My Tuscarora Chariot charges his Boar Chariot up there next to the Black Orcs. I just want to take that threat out early. And then you can't really see it, but the Bestigors are also in combat with the Black Orcs. I did make that charge, but it was too much of a hassle to try to figure out how to get the Bestigors up onto that rocky formation as well, so we just kind of left it like that. And then, yep, here you can see my General's unit also charged his big guns, and my Chariot also got the charge as well. So I really got lucky with the charges. Actually, they're all pretty average distance, but the fact that I made all of them was fairly fortunate. And then I used the Raiders, the Ungor Raiders, to shoot down some of the Fanatics. I ended up losing one of the units to the Fanatics, but you know, I cleared 2 of them off, and in case I forget to mention them, they don't really cause any heartache for the rest of the game. So yeah, and then I just moved the Razorgore up to kind of distract that spider and just kind of keep it out of the fight for as long as possible. All right, so here's just a cool picture, I guess, of you know, the main combats here. You got my my General's unit and his General's unit, and then the Bestigors and the Black Orcs. Same thing here. Alright, so Magic Phase, the Hearthstone let me do whatever I want, pretty much. So, I've got the Wild Form on my General's unit, and then just Miasma down his weapon skill, I think. So over here, this was really weird. The Minotaurs and the Gore block easily annihilate the Boar Boys, and the Gores roll high enough to overrun into the Savage Orcs, so they have to declare a charge on them, and with their 90-degree wheel, plus unlimited movement, plus the wheel to close the door, plus the fact that I have to maximize contact, this is where they actually end up. So even though they were on the you know, the left side of the Boar Boy, and they were in their Savage Orcs front arc, so this is, you know, where they had to go. So, and then the Minotaurs overrun D6 inches, and they basically just bump into the Razorgore and stop. My Chariot killed his and just reformed to flank his Black Orcs. And yeah, and then in combat, he killed a couple Bestigors, but they just hit back and annihilated the unit. They took out everything except 2 of the Black Orcs and the War Boss. So that combat's definitely going my way. Yeah, the Bestigors break the unit, and instead of, you know, trying to move the whole unit on top of that rocky formation, I just put the standard bearer up there for reference. Plus, I thought it looked cool. And then in his turn, the spider comes back on the board, and then he what does he do here? I don't remember. But he brings the spider back on. He rallies his War Boss and the remaining Black Orc, and then he charges his Chariot into my General's unit. Same thing with the Squig Herd. He charges them into the Chariot. The Night Goblin unit with the bosses charges the Ungor Raiders, and instead of fleeing and risking a panic, I just, you know, stood and shoot, and you know, that way they're just gonna kill the Raiders and overrun into the Ungors, and just trying to make this whole process take as long as possible. Because the longer those guys are out of the fight, the longer my General's unit and the Bestigors have to just take out all of his points. So that's what I'm doing there. And then his spider obviously charges the Razorgore because it doesn't really have a choice. So, all right. So here's the aftermath of, you know, our General's units in combat. The Gores just completely wipe out the big guns, and all he's left with are characters. He's got his battle standard, his level 4, and his general. And his general's over there because both, you know, he's in a challenge with the Beast Lord, and I think they're both sitting on 1 wound. So, and then I found out that his general has the Stubborn Crown, and that's why this has been taking so long. Instead of just breaking him and running them all down, you know, he's been stubborn the whole time. So, alright, so over here the Savage Orcs easily beat the Gores in combat, and here in this picture they actually overrun far enough to hit the Razorgore, so they're in combat with the Razorgore. But Dave, I guess, couldn't be bothered to close the door, and I wasn't gonna do it for him. So they're actually in combat with the Razorgore. So that's what's going on there.